All right. Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias, friends and colleagues. I'm Senator Lina Gonzalez and Chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. And I want to thank you all for joining us to this press conference today as we unveil our 2025 legislative priorities. Before we begin, no preview of upcoming priorities can be complete without setting the scene of how we got here, what we've done, and what we have yet to do. Nearly 52 years ago, the Chicano Legislative Caucus was formed with just 5 members. The original members formed the caucus to further policy priorities that protect, promote, and preserve the rights of the Latino community throughout California. Today, the caucus consists of 35 legislative members and 3 constitutional officers. It remains committed to the founding goals and plays an increasingly significant role in shaping public policy at the state level. Since the caucus was formed, California's demographics have shifted significantly. Our Latino population now nears 16 million residents and accounts for over 40% of the population. Not surprisingly, the needs, desires, and priorities of Latinos mirror all of Californians. They want excellent schools, clean air, water and safe streets, quality health care, and good-paying jobs. Plain and simple, they want what everyone else wants, an equal opportunity to succeed and realize the American dream. The statistical picture of Latinos is very troubling, though. They stand to get even worse if we had another recession under President Trump. Latinos are more likely to not have any health insurance. They tend to earn less than average Californians. Poverty rates are higher and are also less likely to own homes and have higher unemployment rates. And we know that there remains a substantial achievement gap between Latinos in the K-12 education system. But we're also successful in business, education, government, and as a whole, we account for nearly $3.6 trillion in GDP, surpassing India and in the UK. If we were our own country, we would mirror California as the 5th largest economy. Fighting to turn these numbers around is why most of us got into politics, and ensuring that Latinos are a priority every step of the way is key to this caucus. To address these pressing issues, this year we have identified 12 bills as legislative priorities. They are all contained in the press packets. These bills fall into several subject matter categories, and they are taking bold action to protect California Latinos. Hands off of our health care, protecting immigrant families, tackling the cost of living, standing with our workforce, defending our diversity and freedoms is what we are going to talk about today. And it's unfortunate that at the national level, we are seeing deliberate efforts to crash our economy, deport our communities, and continue to villainize our Latino communities. And these bills are efforts to combat all of that. Now we will hear from our caucus members in attendance about the bills in our legislative packets. And remember, members, keep your remarks brief to 1 minute, and then, of course, ensure that you are introducing the speaker after you. We will start with hands off of our health care and start with Senator Caroline Menjivar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Senator Caroline Menjivar, representing the 20th District, bringing you SB 20 as it coincides with my number because it's personal to my district. According to the Department of Public Health, as of last month, out of the 258 confirmed silicosis cases, 98% of them belong to Latinos. Silicosis, in fact, is killing our young Latino men who work in the stone fabrication industry, where they cut engineered stone counterparts, where they are not being protected by their employers. Silicosis is irreversible, but preventable lung disease caused by respiration of silica dust, preventable through enhanced worker safety in the industry. And that is what SB 20 is looking to do, to set standards that will prevent silicosis, bring oversight of the shops through certification, ban dry cutting, and adopt a training curriculum, as well as establish a tracking database of where these cases are. Because once you get it, there is no cure. The only way you can survive is through a lung transplant. And men who are diagnosed with this only live on average 3.5 years past their diagnosis. I thank the Latino Caucus for standing with me on this vital issue that is directly impacting my district, which is ground zero for the silicosis cases across California. Now I'd like to turn over to my colleague, Senator Jesse Arguin, to talk about his bill.
Well, thank you, Senator Menjivar, and thank you, Madam Chair. I'm proud to support the entire package of legislative priorities that the Latino Caucus has endorsed, but particularly proud that my bill, Senate Bill 81, is part of that package. And this bill seeks to protect our hospitals and health facilities from immigration enforcement, ensure that these are places that people can go and get critical health care without fear of being arrested and deported in California. America is a nation of immigrants, and we recognize the integral role that immigrants play in advancing our society. 1 in 4 Californians are foreign-born and pay $151 billion in taxes, with their labor supporting the 5th largest economy in the world. Indeed, California, if not the nation, would not function if it wasn't for our undocumented Californians. Yet when the federal administration makes clear that the very people who make America great are not welcome here, it creates a chilling effect. Healthcare is a human right. Yet some immigrants are fearful to seek health care along with going about their daily activities, which impacts all of us. And that's why I've introduced Senate Bill 81, which will prohibit immigration authorities from entering the non-public area of a health facility without a valid judicial warrant. It would ensure that immigration officials can't arrest or question people while they're seeking medical care, and would also limit certain information for being provided to health officials. I'm proud that a broad coalition, including the California Medical Association, SEIU California, and the California Latino Caucus, support this bill. Thank you.
And keeping on the theme of hands off of our health care, as it pertains to Medi-Cal, which has certainly been a topic of discussion here in this Capitol, expanding healthcare access has been a legacy project of the Latino Caucus. Over 40% of Californians depend on Medi-Cal or covered California subsidies for health coverage. Specifically, 38%, or 15 million, are enrolled in Medi-Cal. And now more than ever, due to federal cuts, this program is critical to our residents, and not just our undocumented, everyone. It's particularly vital in areas such as the Central Valley, where enrollment gets as high as 70%. The District 22 has the highest enrollment in health coverage, with roughly 70%, as mentioned, and specifically in that Central Valley district. But Medi-Cal expansion to more Californians has many benefits to offset or mitigate state costs, and we want to protect that. Lowering healthcare costs, reduced health disparities, stronger workforce, and enhanced economic stability and less poverty. And that is what this caucus will continue to stand for. As we move on to protecting immigrant families, I'll start off with my bill, SB 48. It implements critical protections to ensure parents, students, staff, and teachers feel safe and welcome at California schools. The current federal administration's attacks on our immigrant communities are causing real fear in our neighborhoods, and we have actually seen this anecdotal evidence come to fruition, unfortunately, in places across the country. California school resources and spaces should be dedicated to educating young minds and should never be utilized to tear apart families. Immigration actions near schools have a chilling effect on school attendance, increasing learning loss, and harm student mental health. SB 48 will prohibit school officials from granting immigration authorities permission to access a campus without a valid judicial warrant, and will protect students' personal information and educational records. This bill will also provide additional statutory clarity to help school staff on the ground in our communities, and will help our schools remain secure and safe. Next, I'm going to pass it on to our good senator from the San Gabriel Valley, that is Sasha Renee Perez, for SB 98.
Good morning. I'm Senator Sasha Renee Perez. Thank you all for having me here today and for recognizing the SAFE Act as one of the Latino Caucus's priority bills this year. It has been 78 days since the Trump administration eliminated safe spaces, making churches, hospitals, and schools fair game for immigration raids. 78 days that our students, educators, and their families have been living in fear, constantly looking over their shoulder, wondering if immigration enforcement agents are there to take them away. On March 27th, that fear became a reality for 3 students, one who was only a 3rd grader, and their mother who were detained by ICE in New York. And this nightmare is especially true for our Latino communities that are being excessively and unjustly targeted by immigration enforcement. That's why I introduced SB 98, which requires K-12 schools and higher education institutions to notify students, staff, and other campus community members when immigration enforcement agents are present on campus. This bill will give our communities the peace of mind that they deserve while also maintaining the state's commitment that schools are safe places where students can learn, teachers can educate, and schools can be a place exclusively dedicated to teaching and uplifting the next generation. Thank you.
And next we have Assemblymember Jose Luis Solache.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Before I share my prepared comments, I cannot let this moment go by without sharing that I stand on the shoulders of former member, my assembly member, Marco Antonio Fireball, who fought so hard for our immigrant community, someone that gave our dreamers, when it was not popular, a vision, he brought the heart, he brought the humanity to this issue. My name is Jose Luis Solache from Linwood, representing Assembly District 62. As a son of immigrant parents from León, Guanajuato, who instilled the importance of service within me, I am proud to have support of the Latino Caucus on AB 421, legislation that seeks to enhance protections for sensitive community locations, such as child care centers, health facilities, and places of worship. As the Trump administration acts on their horrific mass deportation agenda and has rescinded protections for immigration enforcement in sensitive locations, the measure aims to ensure that vulnerable populations, children and families seeking essential services can access these resources and facilities. Our Latino Caucus continues to stand as a strong voice for immigrant community. I commend my colleagues on their leadership across diverse policy issues. Now is the time to call our shared humanity to defend our values and work together to protect our communities. Este es un orgullo de contar con el apoyo del Latino Caucus en AB 421, una legislación que busca fortalecer las protecciones para lugares sensibles en la comunidad como nuestros centros de centros infantil, instituciones de salud y nuestras iglesias. Ahora es el momento de hacer un llamado a nuestra comunidad compartida para defender nuestros valores y trabajar juntos para proteger nuestras comunidades. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Assemblymember Celeste Rodriguez.
It is an honor to stand here today with my colleagues to lift up the voices in our communities across the state and to author a measure that is part of the Latino Caucus legislative priorities. I am proud to share that I have introduced AB 1049, a measure that increases food access during this difficult time when costs of living, including the cost of feeding one's own family, is increasingly challenging for families across the state. This bill will remove a complicated rule called sponsor deeming from the eligibility determination process in the California Food Assistance Program, commonly referred to as CFAP. When determining eligibility for this benefit through CFAP, sponsor deeming adds the income and resources of an immigrant sponsor, even if they are not financially supporting the applicant. Because of this process, low-income immigrant households fear that their household or sponsor will experience negative consequences as a result. This fear can cause families to miss out on essential food benefits. Today, I will present this bill in committee with the written testimony of parents who cannot access essential food benefits for their children and cannot come in person to testify because of the fear being spread in our communities. Sponsor deeming stigmatizes eligible immigrants' use of public benefits. It is critical that we bring equity to our state's food safety net and we reduce food insecurity in our communities so that no one goes hungry. That is why, as a caucus, we are supporting AB 1049, and I look forward to passing it as law. Up next, I would like to introduce my colleague, Avelino Valencia.
Wonderful. Thank you, Assemblymember. Muy buenos días to everyone. I'm Assemblymember Avelino Valencia, proudly representing the Central Orange County District, which includes Anaheim, Santana, and Orange. California Lifeline provides essential telephone and internet services to over 1.9 million Californians. Confusion over Social Security number requirements has deterred otherwise eligible residents from applying. AB 1303 would remove this barrier, making it clear that a Social Security number is not required, ensuring fairness and expanding access to all Californians. Beyond access, this bill also protects privacy, which is extremely important. Personal data of subscribers can't be shared without a court-issued warrant if this bill were to move forward.
Many Californians have already contributed to the Lifeline program through phone surcharges, not tax dollars. In today's world, reliable phone and internet access is necessary and not a luxury. It's how families stay informed, students become educated, and workers access job opportunities. AB 1303 is about fairness, security, and accessibility, ensuring all Californians can stay connected without unnecessary hurdles. Gracias, and I look forward to not only this bill passing, but our entire legislative package. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our chairperson, Senator Lina Gonzalez, on behalf of Senator Eloise Reyes. Thank you.
Great. Sorry, let me just get my bearings here. Okay. Ooh, do I have this one? My apologies. Okay. Do I have this one? Excuse me. Sometimes I'm doing double duty here for another member, so I apologize. I don't have them in my notes. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, actually, and we'll come back to that. That's Senator Maria Elena Durazo. This is the theme of standing with our workforce, so we'll move that.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to my colleagues in the Latino Caucus for supporting SB 635 as a priority for the Latino Caucus. This is a bill for our hardworking street vendors. You know the street vendors, the elote man, the taco man, the dessert, the churros, you name it, and they are street vendors who have their licenses out on our streets, feeding us before and after a football game, whatever. You know, they're always out there when we're hungry to feed us. So this is about ensuring that they participate in our economy without fear. Specifically, the bill will safeguard micro-business owners' personal information to ensure that they continue to work in peace and safely, because they deserve it, especially as they are working hard, making a living to raise their families. Now more than ever, these micro-businesses need our support as they continue to take step forward in our economy to become small businesses and then big businesses, all for the sake of our economy. And I also just want to end by thanking my partners, Action for the City, Inclusive Action for the City, Community Power Collective, Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, Public Counsel, and CHIRLA. Without their support, we wouldn't have gotten this far. Thank you all very much. And I think you are next, Madam. Oh, here? Okay. And I also want to thank Madam Chair Gonzalez for all that you've done to raise the issues that we're talking about today. So, Assemblymember Carrillo, I think you're next. Did I get that right?
Thank you, Senator Durazo. Buenos días a todos y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros esta mañana. I'm Assemblymember Juan Carrillo, and I'm proud to have AB 868 recognized as a Latino Caucus priority. This bill addresses a long-standing inequity on how we elect county officials. Right now, many county elections are decided in low turnout primaries. If a candidate gets over 50% of the vote in June, they win outright. And most voters never get even a say in the general election. That's a problem. Because we know who gets left out, underrepresented communities that look like us. This isn't just about turnout, it's about equity. Latinos make up nearly 40% of California's population, but far too often our voices are missing from critical decisions that shape our neighborhoods, our schools, and our daily lives. In the 2024 election, Latino voter participation surged by nearly 68% from the primary to the general. That's millions of voters who showed up in November, but we're already too late to impact local races decided months earlier. This isn't just a gap in participation, it's a structural inequity that disproportionately impacts Latino voters and working families. Yes, we must continue to invest in engagement and outreach for primary elections, but we also have to recognize the real-life barriers our communities face. Parents, workers, students, juggling long hours, child care, rising costs that make it harder to participate in the early process. ABA 68 helps address this issue. It ensures that voters, especially those from underrepresented communities, have a say when it counts most. It ensures that key decisions are made when most people are participating, when our families are paying attention, and when our communities are engaged. This bill is about equity, access, and representation. Now I'd like to give the microphone back to Madam Chair Gonzalez. Mia Ponce's not here.
Okay. We'll go back to our good senator from the Inland Empire. I'd like to present on her behalf Senator Eloise Gomez-Reyes. She's authoring SB 294, the California Workplace Know Your Rights Act, sponsored by the California Labor Federation, SCIU, and the Central American Resource Center. SB 294 will serve as a critical safeguard for Latinos and immigrants across California by requiring that their employers inform workers of workplace protections against unfair immigration-related practices. The bill will protect families by requiring notice to a worker's emergency contact should they be arrested or detained by ICE. Since President Trump's inauguration, the federal government has enacted a wave of executive orders that aims to weaken civil and labor protections, which muddies the waters for workers and employers alike. SB 294 will educate workers on their labor and civil rights under state and federal law by creating a template for employers to inform their employees about the rights. Thank you, and as she mentioned, let's continue defending all Californians together. And with that, I will move it on to, who else has got on here? All right, I think we're done here. All right, so we're set. We've got all the bills out there, and we'll take it to the crowd if there's any questions or comments from folks in the press. Yes, please. Yeah. We are, we've been very clear in the Latino Caucus that we're taking every policy very, very seriously, especially in this moment of deportations, especially in this moment of being attacked. So we're being very mindful of the budget. I think we've got a few budget priorities that are very minimal to support small businesses and also to safeguard Medi-Cal. So I think many of these bills should not conflict too much with the budget process as it stands now. Thank you for the question. Yes.
Yeah, can you talk about your efforts to protect Medi-Cal? I mean, is that a budget ask? I mean, with all due respect, it's not very small. Like the
No.
Medi-Cal, that's going to be a major issue, I think, going into the budget process.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's really important to note that Medi-Cal is not just a Latino issue. Medi-Cal supports 15 million Californians across the state. And many of them, if you think about it, are working Californians. These are folks that are not getting health insurance through their employers, that support families. And of course, there's a Latino lens on this because many of them are Latino. Some of them undocumented, some of them legal permanent residents. So we are going to do everything we can to ensure that the narrative out there isn't just, this is an issue about undocumented people, this is an issue because we have immigrants here. That is villainizing our community. There's so many other factors. Prescription drug costs have gone up. Long-term care is an issue. So we need to talk about those things in the full narrative. And yes, we want these folks to have a basic right. We don't want them to go to emergency rooms and then continue to drive up costs, which will be a detriment to us in the long run. So we've got a lot of work to do, and thankfully we have two health chairs in the Latino Caucus, both Senator Menjivar and Assemblymember Bonta, who I think have been really well versed on this issue. So we're in a good space, I believe, but a lot of work ahead.
What have your conversations been with leadership and administration on this issue?
I think our conversations have been very good. They've been transparent, but we have a lot of questions. Again, I think our approach has been not to villainize the undocumented or immigrant or Latino communities. It's very easy to do that in this world of sensationalism right now, but what we're saying is let's get the details. But most of these folks are working people, and we know that they are supported, whether you live in a Democratic or Republican district, I would say Medi-Cal recipients and beneficiaries are everywhere. And when you think about it, it's not just the beneficiaries, it's also the infrastructure. So the rural hospitals, the clinics, the providers. it's all of it. So we can't just look at it in a very linear space. So still more work to come, but the conversations have been good. We're asking a lot of questions. Any other last question?
Oh, I have one.
Yes.
I'm Blake Jones from Politico.
Sure.
I'm not sure who would want to answer this one, but just because a couple of the bills do attempt to, build on SB 54's protections, against ICE, I wonder if there's any concern about, reopening SB 54 and kind of that section of the law, just considering the Supreme Court has gotten more conservative since that was passed, and just since the politics of the issue were a little bit trickier right now. Was there any hesitation before you all kind of coalesced around that?
Yeah, that's always top of mind. Thanks for the question. I think I can speak for my bill, SB 48. We actually amended the bill so we would not be touching SB 54 because we knew it was going to be, perhaps litigated, and we don't want to do that over again. That was a landmark piece of legislation passed in 2017 by a former member. We want to keep that intact. But I think it's, these are going to be around the edges of the sanctuary state law, and I think that's good to do that and add more protections. I can speak for mine that, even just the perception of deportations, the 10,000 a month deportation quota that Donald Trump has put forward is enough to ensure that kids are not going to school, that parents aren't going to work, and that is a huge hit to our economy. I'll pass it on to, I don't know if Senator Perez has additional comments on her bill on notifications.
Yeah, so the policy that we wrote actually has nothing to do with SB 54. SB 98, the SAFE Act, is actually building off of the EMS, emergency response systems, that many of our local school districts already have in place. So whether that be a text message system, an email system, we want school districts to utilize what they already have. And it's simply a notification for students, for parents, as well as for school staff and school faculty. That's why the bill was actually authored in partnership with undocumented students. So it's very separate. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one last question, and then I think we're at time. Okay, if not, I just want to say thank you very much. This is the dream team back here. We've got an incredible Latino caucus doing really good work. We appreciate your time, and that'll be the end of our press conference. Thank you.